Good evening, Mr. Eldaz. How are you doing this fine day?
I'm fine, thank you.
It's best if we get started right away, no? I want to talk to you about a subject today, but it's a very touchy subject in your society.
Which is?
It's how you're an Israeli and your view on Arabs.
Oh, alright.
Let's get started then. I know that there's a whole lot of conflict between you and your two societies, but you've seen it at a very young age. How did you react to the conflict when you were young?
Well, in terms of my perception, I really thin slice the idea of the two conflicts that we have, because to me, especially at a young age that I was in, I saw the entire thing as black and white, good and evil, so to speak.
And to you, the Israelis were the good guys?
Well, yes, since it was what I was taught to believe. My family and society taught me that the Israeli armies were the heroes, since they protected us from the bad guys, which I was taught to be portrayed by the Arab society. I hate to admit it, but at a young age of 6, I believed that.
And do you still believe that?
No, but only because I left Israel and became an international student at the age of 6. So all the propaganda and teachings that Israel had to offer were all behind me in a sense. Well, not fully. My mom is still the most patriotic Israeli I know, so.
So you would say that being an international student changed your perspective about the subject?
Well, it definitely widened my knowledge, and through that I feel I gained more experience, since I was able to see so much more while I was in India and later on in Thailand. My rapid cognition of an Arab person, at least at first, was that he was a terrorist, mainly because of the stereotypes that the US had projected, and my mom's ranting.
So you would say that the stereotype is still in your mind today, or no?
Well, being an international student, you get to see so many other cultures and understand them better. Living in another country as well as going to an international school does a really good job with what I believe, because I can say it made me get out of the bubble that was my nationalism, in a sense.
And why would you say that?
Well, I remember an Olympic Day in elementary school seeing all those different nationalities walking with their flags and then finally coming together. That was symbolic to me and at least piqued my interest. I started asking myself why Israel has conflicts with some Arab states. So in a young age, I decided to research.
And did you find that research satisfying?
I found that both sides had very good reasons to why each side is in conflict with one another. It strengthened my knowledge a lot, and I felt like that I didn't believe the stereotype anymore, because after that, I would get annoyed when people started calling or generalizing every Arab or Muslim as a terrorist, because it just made me angry.
You've been exposed to the Israeli media when you were 6 years old,
Mm-hmm.
but you also told me that you moved to India and then Thailand and grew up as an international student.
Yes.
In that sense, you have two parents that both believe in the Israeli media, and you have yourself. So, are there any difference between your viewpoints?
Well,
And also, how does the media affect your perception?
no, it does not affect my perception because I live in Thailand, so it can't really affect me. But I know that if I live in Israel, it would affect me greatly. In fact, my mom gets brainwashed really easily by her nationalism because she watches Israeli news, which can be very biased, I feel. But it just, in the end, makes her feel as if everyone against Israel is a terrorist.
Besides the conflict in Israel, would you say your new perception or outlook on the subjects affect your future choices in life?
I feel they already have, to be honest, because as you know, most Israelis have to go into the army after high school. But since I've been out of Israel for more than a decade, I'm given the choice to do so or not. And I don't want to because of the knowledge I feel I possess. I just want to stay out of the conflict since I don't believe in what both sides are doing. But I still feel like I understand why they do it.
Do you feel instances in your life where you go back to those old views on the subject?
Definitely emotionally, because I feel like everything I know is gone when I get emotionally active. For example, 2 weeks ago, Hamas shot missiles into my hometown, where my grandmother lives. all I could feel was angry and worry that my grandmother was all right. That was an instance where my emotions got the better of my knowledge, since for a split second it made me forget what I know and made me hate the Arab society.
In terms of your perception and emotion, do you feel comfortable with Arab people?
Yes, very much so, because I'm knowledgeable enough to know not all the people in both Israel and any Arab states are war-hungry maniacs, because I feel that I know and I'm emotionally stable enough to set myself apart from that group of people because of what I was taught throughout my life in ISB.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.